when you're speaking with a woman, you need to practice accessing the emotional side of you, but also talking about things in terms of emotions. I'll give you an example, a very easy, trivial example, but of course it gets a lot deeper. But an easy surface example is, instead of saying, when you're talking about travel, instead of talking about like what you saw in Paris and what time of year you went, or what weather you had, or there, or whatever, like first you did this, then you did that, and then you did this, and you start rattling it off like a Lonely Planet tour guide. Instead, talk about how it felt to be there. How it felt to be standing in the Louvre after reading about it for so long. How it felt to be looking at the Mona Lisa. How it felt to be standing under the Eiffel Tower or to go up the Eiffel Tower. How it felt to be walking down the Champs-Élysées in the middle of the evening or whatever with a glass of wine in your hand. How it felt. How does it feel? How does it feel? How does it feel? Focus on the feelings. And then that will get her sense in the sensory mode. Talk about what things... talk about them in terms of describing the sensory feelings of those. How did it, what did it taste like? How did the wind feel on your skin? Talk about what the colors you saw, or just focus on that. So hopefully you understand it's not just factual and logical in the sense of like a boring list of like dry facts. That will never work. But the easiest thing to do is just focus on how you felt and how she feels. And in fact, everybody is interested in interested in feelings. So for instance, if I want to get you interested in the conversation, I can ask your friend, how did he feel about that? Pointing at you. And you're going to be, what's going on here? All right, because everybody's interested in themselves. But they're also, so she'll talk about herself, but she'll only open up to you specifically if she's attracted to you. So you need to also share about yourself. So just keep it equal. Just share your feelings, ask her how she felt, and so forth. Feelings over thoughts, if you want to create attraction. If you just want to be friends and be in the friend zone, go for thoughts. How to be in the friend zone course, how to just do the opposite of everything I'm teaching here. All right, so the other thing is the evolutionary psychology has done a lot of surveys, like asking women, what do you like in a man? And they'll say the cliched things of status, power, status, wealth, and fitness, right? So there's a certain truth to that. In their rational prefrontal cortex, they will say those things. But what they're actually reacting to is your behavior, because they're trying to detect your mental and emotional health and your social dominance and alliances, right? So what she's going to be looking for is, instead of you saying you have lots of money and a fancy car and a fancy condo and whatever, she's going to be looking for your behavior. So if you're like dangling your Maserati keys around or showing, this is my Lamborghini, it's not very attractive. It's sort of douchebaggy. Oh, in America, douchebaggy sort of works because there's so many. But it's not very classy, right? So it's like you're putting too much into it. Because if it's really not a big deal, then you wouldn't even talk about it. It'd be like, oh yeah, I have these jeans on, yeah, big deal, right? So it's a lot cooler and a lot more attractive if, for example, she's really into you because you have some fun conversation. You make her laugh, another feeling, right? Make her laugh. Humor is great for getting into the feelings. Humor, and then she's talking about her feelings, and then you walk out to the parking lot and there's your car. The valet brings it up and it's some fancy, expensive car. And you're like, oh yeah, get in. It's not a big deal. And then she will be like, whoa, okay. That's the behavior of a man who has the resources and doesn't think a big deal of them because he has them. Demonstration over verbalization, always more important in creating attraction. Also dominance and frame control. If you can hold your frame, she will sense that you are somebody who is socially dominant. However, the only attractive way to do this is to do it unconsciously. In other words, if you're thinking, okay, now I've got a frame control, you're already fucked. Just like the guy who's like, okay, now I'm going to show off my car. You're fucked. Have these things, develop them, cultivate them, train them in yourself so that you have them naturally. So you don't need to have frame control, for example, hopefully with somebody that is a flat earther, right? Or somebody who believes that the sun revolves around the earth. Okay, hopefully if you've gone through high school science, you're not going to have your frame shaken by a guy like that. He's like, but look, it's flat. Look, it's flat, right? You're like, hopefully you're not like, oh shit, is it flat? Maybe it was a conspiracy, right? Now, your frame isn't going to get thrown off because you believe it's true. Your frame is only thrown off when you doubt whether it's true. So the best thing to do is to know who you are, know what you're about, and know those things very well, like self-awareness and emotional awareness. Then you don't need to bother with frame control. But a way to analyze what's actually happening is frame control, right? Like, okay, now she's challenging his frame. He holds to it because he believes it's the truth, and she's attracted. Right? That's frame control, his dominance. And of course, a sense of humor, right? Because the sense of humor is great on for a lot of different reasons. One, intelligence. All right, so you notice that like the less intelligent people generally are laughing at physical humor. And then as you get higher in intelligence generally, the jokes and the humor becomes more layered, subtle, and complex. So one of the last things that will happen if you do classical studies, like classical Chinese, is to learn the humor in the zhuangs, for instance, or the humor in some ancient text. That's like, oh wow, you really understand, get to the heart of their culture. So intelligence is one. The other is he doesn't take himself too seriously, so he doesn't feel like he's not desperate and begging for approval. He doesn't need approval from others, and remember what that means. He's emotionally independent. He's not needy. Okay, so that's another one. Humor also shows that not just intelligence and not just emotional independence, but also being articulate and quick verbally shows a different kind of intelligence, right? So, or I guess that's still intelligence. Okay, there you go. Humor is good to have. Oh, right, sorry. Emotion. So when you're laughing, you let your guard down and it creates trust. So you're able to bridge that trust gap with a person because they'll only really have a hearty laugh with you if they trust you and they let their guard down. And you're able to incite that emotion. Those are 4 things, right? Humor is just awesome. Get some humor training. You know, whether that means you're taking some improv comedy classes or stand-up comedy or you just study it. Very important for attraction and to be an attractive person and just to have fun in life. Don't take yourself so seriously. There's too many neuroses going around.